Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Gamewreckers and Slobberknockers. Today with us is Coach Brian Bonds. Coach, welcome.
Hey, good to have you. Thank you for having me, actually, is what I meant to say. But, yeah.
Hey, Coach, why don't you tell everybody a little bit about yourself, kind of like your coaching stops, systems you've coached in, things like that.
Oh, yeah, sure. So right now I'm at, I guess I go with where I started. So I started by playing at Elmhurst College, which is in the western suburbs of Chicagoland. So I played there for 4 years. After I graduated, I went on to be a graduate assistant at St. Xavier University, which is on the south side of Chicago. Was there for 3 years, had some really great years there, had a lot of fun there. From there, so I'm an Illinois guy, so I stayed in Illinois for a while. Went on to coach at Lincoln Way Central High School, which is in the south suburbs of Chicago. We had the #1 defense there in the state one of the years that I was there, so I was there for 2. Left the high school, went back to college for 2 years at the University of St. Francis in Illinois, another NAIA school, where I was special teams coordinator, coach DBs, was a defensive coordinator, and then now I'm down here at Westminster Academy in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, which is not in Illinois, and I'm glad for that. So yeah, I'm down here coaching at a high school, Westminster. It's a K through 12, actually, smaller school, where I'm the defensive coordinator here. So my journey has just kind of been led. I just try to let God lead me where He wants to go, and I just do my best to follow. So I don't think I ever would have been at the University of St. Francis. Definitely would have never moved to Fort Lauderdale, if God kind of wasn't leading those things. So, but I'm grateful for my journey. So I've always stayed on the defensive side of the ball as far as coaching is concerned, and I'm a big special teams guy too. So
That's awesome, Coach. Well, I tell you what, I love Chicago. I think it's a great town, a lot of history. Being a history teacher, I love going there and, going and seeing some of the off the beaten path, like everybody wants to go to, Sears Tower and all the big tourist attractions. But I think there's a lot of things that Chicago has to offer, especially food wise, as a big guy.
Yeah,
Is my town now. I'll tell you what.
Hey man, I'm just saying, don't go too far off the beaten path, though. That's one thing. You can go a little far, but not too far.
Right.
But,
I'm with you. But no, it's been a blast. We've been there a couple times, and we've enjoyed it. And knowing some of the football things that I do, you got to go to Soldier Field, and some of the bigger high schools. High school football in Illinois I think it's big, not the sport, but like the schools. Some of the schools are huge.
Yeah, especially when you hear about, because you don't know. Like me personally, I wouldn't know. I never really, because I have no point of reference. But yes, when I started going out recruiting, and yeah, I mean, one of the schools I was at was roughly 4,000 kids.
Right.
And I mean, one of the bigger schools in Illinois, but yeah, you realize that I guess it's not like that everywhere. So
right. It's not, it's unique. And I think there's some good things for that. And there's also some things that are kind of challenges. Everybody, like, I'm in a school, we have 1,000 students and we're in Division II in Ohio for football. 1's our largest, and then 7's our smallest.
Oh, wow. Okay.
But, so having 1,000 kids, I would consider a medium-sized school. But even some of our biggest schools only have 2,000, 2,500 tops. So to think about a school being double that size, like, man, think about the players we could have there. And then I'm like, yeah, but think of all the kids that want to play football that may not be able to. So, well, it's kind of cool, Coach. What's the biggest difference between coaching high school? I mean, there's some obvious differences, but what do you think some of those unique differences in coaching high school and college? Because you've actually had the chance to do both. So what's the uniqueness of it?
Well, I think you can be more brash, if you're speaking that way, to your college players, because, they're a little bit older. They understand a little bit more. And they're there for a purpose. So, it's not like high school. Well, I just want to be a part of a club. I want to be on the team. No, at least the places I've been, they've all been scholarship,
Right.
institutions. So those kids are there for a purpose, and they're there for a reason. So, okay, we're already talking on a little bit of a higher level. So the main difference to really, I think, is that number one, you have more of their time. But those kids are there for a purpose. Whereas sometimes with high school, you have to get these kids on track. They want to go and do, hey, I'm on vacation. We're going on vacation the week of camp. Oh, really? You are? I don't think so. So, those some different things that you don't have to deal with in college necessarily. So, but it's just it's a little bit of higher level, thinking and teaching and coaching because we have more time.
Right.
So,
do you think your schemes are a little bit more, I don't know, exotic than they are at a high school level? Or
yeah, I would say you can do more. So again, with the more time, we can install more, we can do more. Week to week, we do more adjustments. So, and that was one thing when I came back here, and I'm at a smaller school now. So not only are we a smaller school, but it's high school, and now we're 2 platooning as well. So the time almost gets cut in quarter, that I would normally be spending with the kids. So that makes our our defensive scheme a little bit scaled back, not a little bit, a lot of it, but which is fine because there's no sense in doing more than what the kids can handle. So,
hey, fit your philosophy, your program with what you have, I think is always a positive thing to do. Now, the two colleges you talked about, St. Xavier. Okay, so now here I'm from Xenia, Xenia.
Yeah.
People will call it Xenia. And Xenia.
There's some good players to come out of there, man.
Right. So
yeah,
I know St. Francis and St. Xavier because my son's an NAIA player. He plays at Georgetown College in Kentucky.
Yeah, cool.
But one of my great friends, we coached together for, gosh, it seems like a gazillion years. His son and my son, same grade, grew up together. He plays at St. Francis in Indiana, and I know that's a big game between the two St. Francises a lot of times. And and they he's a Chicago guy too, so he gets to go home. Yeah, so he gets to go home, and when they play there in Illinois, his family all came out for the game. So I know that's good ball. I think sometimes what's hard for me as a high school coach is when kids feel like, well, I'm a Division I kid, and I'm like, well, you're 5'11", you probably don't fit the box for most Division I programs at your position, but then they think that if they don't go Division I, that like that's it. I'm like, hey, there's a spot for everybody, and I think NAIA is a great level for those kids.
Look,
like,
I mean, we've had at both places that I was at, and then the NAIA. I mean, you have Division I bounce backs. Mm-hmm. We've had you want to talk about, there's some great players there.
Right.
I mean, you'd have to go watch a game or go play in a game. If you think you can handle it, I don't know, man. Because there's some pretty live players there.
Oh, it's for real. So, and what was nice is St. Francis in Indiana, before they took my buddy's son, they took 3 kids out of one of our classes. One was a quarterback. Quarterback's always the hardest.
I had to defend against some of those kids. It did not go well for me.
Right. So
was one of them a receiver?
Yeah, Rocky James.
Rocky
James. That's it. Jiminy Christmas. Because I'm right. The corner on that team, Ryan Johnson. I thought if he wouldn't have got hurt his junior year in open gym basketball during his the summer between his sophomore and junior year, he didn't play his junior year. If he would have played his junior year, I think he's a Big Ten corner because he had the speed, but nobody didn't have enough film on him. And he's like, is it one-off year? I'm telling you, those 3 kids were awesome. And I loved those 3 guys. Every once in a while they'll be back in town. But NAIA, I think, is a great level. A lot of people miss out on.
Oh yeah, and you can get money there. I would suggest going there. Look, I was a D3 guy myself, and we played really good ball. Look, if you, I mean, look, I get everybody thinks they're Division One.
Right.
When we were recruiting, I was the recruiting coordinator. Everybody thinks they're Division One, which I get. So, I mean, just let you know that those schools will be there for you if you get your heart broken. So,
right. Oh, absolutely. And I tell my kids all the time, I said, if you want to play ball bad enough, you can go somewhere to play ball. You just got to find the right spot for you and understand that's your spot.
Exactly.
And that's where you go. Right.
It's all about the right fit. Yeah, it's all about the right fit.
All right, Coach. So you were in Florida this year. In Ohio, we got to play a season. Did Florida? How much of a season did Florida get with COVID and all those restrictions?
It depends on the school, but pretty much the whole state got to play their full season. Now, some places down here in South Florida, where the pandemic was really bad, they didn't start until much later. But our season started. The state of Florida, their season started only 2 weeks later than it initially planned. Okay. So we played. What did we play? 11 games. Wow. So we played 11 games. Everybody else pretty much had a full season. If they chose to, maybe missed out on one game, possibly.
Okay.
So we pretty much had a full year.
So doing this and talking to different guys from across the nation, I feel bad for the guys who didn't get a season, or they're going to try. Sure. Like Illinois is getting ready to try to start a season. I know. Look, Illinois and Ohio, we're like the same spot on the map. We're just, there's somebody in between us. I know what weather's like in January and February. Like
I don't understand how they're gonna play. Like, I mean, I wish them the best. I have all my good friends are back there, and I hope they play. But I don't know what playing football in 18 feet of snow looks like. I don't know. Is that safe? I don't understand. I don't know.
Well, I told you my son's at Georgetown. He goes, Dad, we're gonna have a spring football season. I'm like, cool. And I said, I'm thinking to myself, it's going to start, late March, late March, April. No, February. No,
February 2nd, I believe.
That is not spring. That is still winter.
Oh, very much. Yeah, they're supposed to, I think St. Francis and St. Xavier are playing each other on February 2nd, I believe, in Chicago. So good luck. I mean, good luck to both. I love both you guys, Curry. I love you guys, but good luck. Yeah. I don't know how that's going to look.
Right, exactly. Well, hey, cool. Hey, I'm glad, Coach. Like I said, I'm glad you got to play. I'm sure it did help you making that transition. Of course, being in Florida, it does help a little bit with the weather and things like that, especially Fort Lauderdale. I mean, come
on. Yeah. So when I moved down here, I said, coming from Chicago. I lived in Chicago 29 years. Okay. Well, what am I going to do? Definitely live by the beach. Okay. There's no way I'm moving in. So I live on the ocean pretty much. So it's a blessing, man. You can't beat it.
Cool, Coach. Well, hey, when we first started talking, you talked about one of the things right now offenses are killing defenses with are RPOs. One, I think they cheat all the time using those things because offensive linemen are downfield almost every time, and it gets called once out of every 10 plays that they do it.
Maybe.
So, right, maybe. If
if you're on the ref.
Right. If you're on, like, there's no way the right guard should be behind the umpire. Mm-hmm. He threw the ball. So, what are some things that you do to defend RPOs?
Well, really, the whole reason I run a 3-3 stack, so an odd front stack, and really we've run it out of 2 high and single high. But this year we got killed with it. It would have been in 2019, and because we were a 2 high team, so they would pick on our will, the will backer. They go 2 by 2, pick on the will, make him out of the box. If he's in the box, out of the box, so we're playing that game the whole entire time. And, we didn't really adjust well to it. We had some adjustments, but none that we really none that stuck. So at the end of the year, I was like, look, we have to do something here. So, and I don't really want to defend RPOs. Like that's a hassle. There's a lot, there's too many ifs, ands, and buts, and maybes, and this and that and the other. It's just too much. So I just said, I'm like, here's the deal. I like the stack. The stack is good. Let's keep the stack. All right. Now, how can we defend these RPOs elsewise without, with keeping the stack? There's a way to defend it. So what we did, we just had to go. We we always had two what I call inverts, so inverted safeties, so like kind of like a linebacker safety hybrid.
Yep.
So what we did, we always had one. All right. So what we did is that we brought that other safety down, and we played at a true 3-3-5 look across the board. So what we did, basically with double overhangs if you were in 2x2.
Right.
So with those double overhangs, you can't RPO. Those guys aren't in the run fit. Those guys are standing over them. And we played basically cover 3 out of it. So those guys are at, 5-7 yards looking at number 2. Right now, there is no RPO. So you have your option now is, if you had an RPO called, is to run it into a 6-man box, which we have you beat, or pull it and run it yourself. I don't know. That's
who really
to
wants
me,
their quarterback running the ball 15-20 times a game?
not if he's so no, we're always going to have the box advantage. That's the way I look at it. We're always going to match box +1. So we'll keep the stack, match the box +1. So basically it all gets down to, okay, so you in theory, you stop the run. Okay, great. Good for you. You have more in the box than we do. All right. You're taking away our RPOs. Okay, great. So then basically what it comes down to is then the only way that you can beat us is that if you try to go deep on us the whole time, because that's really where the cap is. We capped you everywhere else. We got you beat in the box. We got your little RPO stuff taken care of, your little short stuff. That's all handled. So now your only option to really kind of threaten us is to go vertical, which is great because that's all we practice. So, I mean, all we do is 4 verts, defend 4 verts, defend, the switch routes and the post wheels and all that. So, we feel pretty comfortable about defending the RPO out of single high, so that's a single high really that it kind of takes it away. It's fantastic. So really this year when we were running pretty much all single high, we got 2 or 3 RPOs all year, just because number one, it's not great. It's not a great play for them. So, but some ran it anyway. But so here you have, okay, well, no, I'm not going to give it in the box. So now he's taking it out, looking out. So, and that's covered. So he's holding on to the ball. So all those 2 or 3 that we've seen this year, they were all negative plays where we end up sacking the quarterback, or the quarterback's just kind of scrambling around back there because he's got no option. So that's how we've really come to defend it, because that was the whole thing. I'm like, I don't want to defend RPOs. I'm done. So, and then that's only in 2x2 though. So the way that they kill you is in 3x1. I don't know if you guys have seen much of this, and this was a killer for us. So they'd go 3x1, and then, again, it's the same concept. They're looking for your conflict defender, whoever he is, and then they're just picking on him because he's got a gap in the run game.
Yep.
Well, guess what? We don't do that either. You don't have all those guys don't have a gap. So we adjust with our safeties. So it's all single high. We adjust with our safeties. We're still playing zone behind it. But there's, we're covering down. We're playing single high. We're not playing man. So why don't we play some man and we blitz a little bit? But, we're not playing man. So we're taking all the RPO stuff away, taking away your freebies. And those end up being big plays because those guys get a lot of, it's a lot of space in there. And those aren't great turnover plays for offenses. Though, those are pretty easy throws. They zip them in there, zip them. You're not getting too many turnovers off of those. So, I want to get turnovers. So we're taking away your RPO game, really taking away your run game. We're just daring you now to throw deep on us.
Okay, so I got a couple questions now that you talked about that. If it's 2x2, where is your overhang leveraging number 2? Is he inside leverage or outside leverage?
Inside. So we have them, we say it's 7x1 inside, but we have them play with their alignment a lot. So I like their alignment moving around, so they don't particularly know where we're going. So that dude, that invert, his main job is to reroute number 2. That's his thing. So he's heavy reroute number 2. So he's actually a flat foot reader. So he's flat foot on number 2. If he goes vertical, he's going to collision and then throw him off and then get to the flat.
Is he rerouting him inside or out?
Out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So
is your corner playing a divide technique then? If you're playing cover 3 a lot, dividing 1 and 2.
Yep. Yeah, we tell them, split both verticals. So split both verticals, and then same thing with the safety. Safety's just middle of field safety. I mean, we haven't. It's crazy. We didn't really get hit deep on the passes. A lot of the passes, the deep passes that we got hit on, were by number one. By number one, only because really they ended up having a better player than we did. But
right. I mean, sooner or later,
it's like,
it's Jimmy's and Joe's, right?
So it's like the worst thing as a coach when you're like, we're in cover 3. How did you let up the deep ball? And he's got, he's deeper and he's just not as good. But so I could live with that at night though. You get hit in cover 3 on a deep ball and the guy in the deep third, whatever. So be it.
Okay, so now I get to play devil's advocate. This is the best part about being on this side of the
Yeah,
screen.
Yeah.
Okay, so
let's go.
In your 3x1 stuff, does where the back align, whether he's to the trips or away, does that change anything for you?
No.
Okay.
Nope. Because if you do the little, some people like to do the 3x1 and then the back weak and hit the slant behind. Mm-hmm. Good luck, dude. Go ahead. Just you could go ahead, have it. But you're trying to do all that to manufacture that. We're pretty much giving it up anyway. So it's going to be on the will. The will's going to be outside anyway, the way that we play it. So it'll work out. I mean, he'll get there. It might be a tackle, but yeah.
Okay. Now the two things that we've seen people start doing to us, we were an odd front the past 4 years, but we were 3-4. The thing we started seeing everybody do is they did one of two things to us. One, and I know it's not defending an RPO, but they put trips into the boundary. Mm-hmm. And then they do some RPOs out of that over there, because now they're like, okay, are you going to, and they're trying to get us to overspin into the boundary, because like we had everybody knew what our 3x1 rule was. I mean, we're playing cover 3, go ahead. We're going to play cover 3 to trips, because we don't think anybody's truly running 4 verticals out of 3x1. Like, you may do 2 verticals, but one of those 2 inside receivers is never really going to go clear across to the opposite hash. No, he may drag across, but he's never going to get 17 yards across the field. And if he does, I need a new linebacker anyway, because he should have rerouted his butt coming across the middle of the field.
True. Yeah.
So what about 3x1 into the boundary? Does that change how you align or adjust?
No, not really, because it's all going to be the same for us. Now we've had a lot of 3x1 to the boundary, and then they'll bring the guy across. They'll want to jet to the wide side because of our rules.
Yep.
So we'll have to spin that. But but no, I mean we again, now that we're in 2A Florida high school football, it's all simplified. I have to do my best to get those guys all on the same page, because we only have 1 hour of defense a day.
Right.
That's it. 1 hour defense, because we split them up. We 2 platoon them. So we do an hour defense, an hour of offense, and then whatever other time and stuff, we use for working out. So it's not ideal. It's hard. It's challenging. So we had to keep it super simple and do what we thought was best in order to defend most of that stuff. So we kept it simple. Like I said, we'll always adjust with our safeties. So we'll spin the safeties, and it's a 3 safety look. So we'll spin our free, will come down and cover down on number 3. And then our backside guy is going to go play the middle of the field. Right. So now what we will do to take away that RPO, we'll man up the backside. Okay. 3x1. So it's not just a totally easy access.
That was my next question, is how are you doing the backside of it? Are you playing zone back there?
We'll play lock to it. So what that does then is that it locks the corner on the number 1 receiver, and then it locks the will linebacker on the back. So therefore those guys are covered and taken care of, so we're not giving up the easy stuff. We played zone early on in the year just to keep it super basic, right? Because I didn't know really what I had. So we did, and I didn't like it, and so we just manned it up. We played the guy, again, had to the corner mix his alignment up and back and forth, so they don't know if we're in zone or man. So, and then we'll put that near backer on the near back, and have him match as well. So,
you know, this is what cracks me up. People always get hung up, even front, odd front. A lot of the same stuff you're doing, I've done in every defense. I've coached them all.
It's all the same. Yeah, 4-2-5. I mean,
right?
you do the same thing in the 4-2-5.
Right.
It's all
4-3. We do the same thing. You know, it is. You know, when we were playing 4-3, we'd spin the safeties, and you know, the linebacker would have this guy, and I mean, it's all the same.
It really is.
Okay, so how did you defend? I know it's not RPO. Speed option to the single receiver side, 3-by-1.
Speedo. Depended what front we were in.
Okay.
So what did we do? We would have because we got it actually. So the corner's late pitch. He's just not going to get there. So depending on the front, we would have the if we were playing a 5-tech out there, he would have to take the back. All right, and then everybody else would have to scrape for quarterback. Or if the because we played a lot of 4-techs and 4-eyes where I'd have them play the B gap. In that case, we would have that Will backer. He would then have to take the pitch man, and then everybody else get over the top and get to the quarterback. Okay. So first threat. So, yeah. I mean, you're seeing a lot of it now too. You see a lot of
especially
everybody's going to Speedo.
Everybody knows we're blocking up backside 3. We're going to play cover 3 on the front side, and we're going to take, if it's your best receiver single that backside, our best corner's going over there, and we're going to lock him up, and then everybody just started running speed option. And that's why everybody started trying to get us to, like, middle of the field, they'd figure out which way we were going. But the closer we got to the boundary, the more 3-by-1 they were sending us to the boundary. I'm like, do they really think we're going to spend the extra defender over there so they can – like, what are you going to do? 4 verticals in a third of the field? You're not even doing 4 verticals when you have the whole field in a 3-by-1 formation.
Yeah.
So, you know, but people got us on that backside speed option on that one side where they would just take their corner or take their receiver and run off our corner. So,
right. Yeah, we haven't got much of it, formation to boundary and then they run speed option to the field. I don't think we had that at all this year. We've had some middle of the field, they run in the middle of the field, but you pretty much know the teams that are going to run the speed option. Usually they show it. So it's like, okay, we can work on that, defend that. And we got guys running anyway. Our free safety is going to be, an inside out defender. He's basically our next man in the box. So he should be able to get there sooner than later.
All right. So now let's talk about some other RPO option stuff that you could see. How much wing T do you see? For me, like if we're going to see a wing T team in Ohio, a lot of them are usually smaller schools that really buy into that stuff. Now, there's some big schools that play wing T that do some of the gun wing T stuff that's out there now that I think has some really good RPOs. But like being a small school, how much like wing T do you see?
Not as much as I thought. We played one team this year that was actually much bigger than we were. So our schedule was all jazzed up this year with who we can get and, starting late and all this. So we played Key West. So Key West runs the triple option. Okay. And we are 2A and they are 5A. So we played them, run the triple. And who else? There was another team that ran a version of the triple. They were not a great team, but they ran it nonetheless. So we've had, I'd say 1.5 teams that did it this year. But you do get a lot of different triple looks.
Right.
So
how do you defend it?
A lot more pitches. Well,
the
way that we've done it, especially if we know it's coming. So I'll just use the team that we knew, Key West. We knew it was coming. So we'll play a 5, a 0, and a 5, just for beginners. So we'll take our ends. And so you got to understand with our defense, it's a stack. So whatever that defensive lineman does, the linebacker is going to go opposite.
Okay.
So you got to realize they work in conjunction with each other. So what happens is that what we'll do is we'll put that end in a 5, a tight 5, and he's going to come down. And if he gets a down block, he's going to tackle the dive. So how we teach our linebackers, and again, this is hey, install your defense in 2 weeks, and we're gonna play football in Florida. All we did for linebackers was open window, close window. So if they got an open window, you filled the open window. If they got a closed window, also known as double down, if you got 2 down blocks or whatever, they're going to scrape out, and now they're going to have the C gap. So It's going to be the same thing. So now if that end gets a down block, well, he's going to go chase, just like he would if we were getting zone read. If he gets zone read, if he gets a down block, he's going to go down, hands on, and eyes in. If there's a puller, he's going to spill it. All right, but usually, in zone read, there's no puller. But so he's always going to tackle the dive. So if he's the 5 tech, he's going to tackle the dive. So what it looks like for that linebacker, he's going to get a double down. So he's going to tackle the dive, the end will, and that will tell the linebacker to scrape outside, and now he's going to be the quarterback player. So if we're in a 5 tech, he's going to end if he gets that down block, plays it thick, tackles a dive, and therefore that backer should scrape and then come and tackle the quarterback. Okay. And then our invert out there has the pitch, corner has pitch.
Okay. All right.
And then our free safety is
cleaning up everything else. Yep. He's cleaning up the mess, right?
Yep. So that's how we'll play that, and then we'll mix it up. And then we'll play our end in a 4 tech or a 4-eye, depending. I prefer a 4, where his key is now the inside hip of the tackle. So he's going to match whatever that is. So if he gets the down block, so that's hard to me. I think, I don't know. You said you guys have run triple before. Right. If you get a 4 tech, what are you guys thinking? Like a true head up 4.
It depends on which one we're running. If we're running midline, okay, so they tell you who to read depending on the play. Like, we'll let that guy go underneath us. Like if we're running midline, we're gonna let him go underneath us. If we're running triple, we're gonna take our veer step, and if he crosses our face, he gets washed, and the next guy becomes but that's something that The one that I think that drove our guys nuts is the guy that's the 4-eye. Because is he
really?
The 4-eye? Because is he really a 4-eye, or is he gonna, is he a 3? And is he gonna? Because if he crashes hard enough, he becomes a 3, and that makes the read really hard. Because now that quarterback's got to know he's coming hard. So the 4-eye, and then it takes away your doubles. And I will also tell you this: depending on where the guy is, it will determine. Okay, so if we get the 4-eye, you may see more outside veer out of us, and we're going to double team that guy out.
Right, that's what I figured. Most of it is kind of outside veer the way that we look at it. But that's what I'd figured. Yeah. Well, the nice thing about a 4-eye is that guy should put a knife in it, But you're going to get the outside. You're going to get going more outside, and if you bring a tight end in, which is fine. But I like the 4 because now we're moving back and forth, and really we could kind of 2-gap him, and he is gonna cross his face, but I have that option to throw off if I have to as well.
Right.
So what I'll do is I'll put him in a 4, knowing that he's gonna have the B gap. So that guy will match down, and it's gonna be the same thing. It's still gonna be a scrape read, C gap 4. He's gonna get a double down, the linebacker, and he's gonna come C gap. It's just more difficult for the O-line, I feel like, to pick that part up. So
okay, 2 other questions I've come up since you started talking about this. Do you stem your guys at all? So will they start in a 5 and end in a 4-eye, or start in a 4 and end up in a 5? Do you stem your D-lines? Yeah, pre.
Yeah, we try. We tell them it's not like a call that I call in or anything like that, but especially for option teams, we tell them, hey, you got to move around, man. You can't be a sitting duck in there. So
makes it easy on the quarterback if they just sit still.
On everybody, it's what's the point? So we let them know, hey, you have to move around. I'm a big move around guy. Let's always do something. Let's let them never know where we're gonna be. So show something, do another. But I put that on them. Hey, you got to move around in there. You could start wherever you want to start, but you need to end where you need to end. So we let them know that. And, you get some guys that do, some guys that, they're paralyzed in fear. They're like, this is my A gap. I can't move from my A gap. I need the A gap. I'm like, okay, that's fine.
Oh, yes, they do.
You can just stay in your A gap then, buddy. Let's not lose our minds out here.
Yeah.
But we have some that are better than others. Yeah.
Good.
So I'd love to move around.
Okay. Now, you also talked about the zone read, and you said you don't get the guard coming back to kick them out. Okay. Maybe not, but we saw a lot of it this year. We're getting that split zone where the H-back is coming across.
Yep.
So, and they're reading your guy because the kid has to know, I'm being read. That guy's coming to kick me out maybe, but he could also be slipping me to get out, because now they're just like, oh, we're going to do that. We're going to zone read, come out, throw the ball out there to the H-back. How does your guy that's squeezing the zone read away but has the H-back coming at him?
That's one of the hardest plays in football to defend, I think, man. I mean, you want to talk about a true triple option RPO, like that one's tough. So how we defend it is that, well, number one, we got a guy out in the flat anyway, which is great. So you get zone away. So zone away, he's still going to chase. All right. So our end is unblocked. He's going to chase. And now he gets that swiper coming back, or whatever you call it. He gets the H-back coming back. You have to take the H-back out. I'm not saying cut him. I'm not saying, swipe his legs or trip him or anything. But that dude has to be contacted. So we're a spill team anyway. So that guy has to be really spilled. Okay, enough to knock him off his route where it can't be thrown to him. So what he's going to do, he's going to come down just like he plays it normally. All right, now we're not really expecting him to tackle the dive. It's not going to happen. He's going to have to spill that guy. Right. So, but anyway, you're given a pull read for the quarterback anyway. So, it's not like it's going to go to the dive back unless it's called. But so he's going to come down and he has to spill that H-back, period, point blank. Enough to knock him off his route, kind of give him the old whirling dervish, right? So that everybody else can now react to it and have enough time to play the call. So
good.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, hey, Coach, I tell you what, I definitely picked up some things today talking about this, and it's, I think you got some good things. I don't care what level it is, college or small school ball. I think you've got some ideas that are going to fit no matter what level you're at. And like you said, the time you have dictates the amount you can do with your kids. And to make it simple makes them fast.
Yep. Yeah. And kind of to your point again, it's so even in the we did that in the 4-2-5 where we get that guy, and especially at the college game, that's all they're doing. Well, you watch, I mean, you see some of these games all yesterday. It's all, RPO, they're running, swiping across, and that's all Clemson and freaking Ohio State do. So, I mean, and it works for them, obviously. Right. But
it does.
Yeah. So even in the 4-2-5, same thing. That has to be thick. That has to be spilled. Well, if you're a spill team, or box the living hell out of it. If it's if you're a box team, but that guy has to be lit up. He cannot be a part of that play. You have to take that part of the option out because that's an easy throw, catch, and all that. So. The nice thing about it is that we have it all covered, at least in our scheme. In the 4-2-5, it was all covered as well. Right. But yeah, you have a guy for dive, you have a guy for Q, and then you have, in that case, it would be the flat. You have a guy for the flat as well. Yep. So
awesome. All right, Coach. Well, the podcast is called Gamewreckers and Slobberknockers. Mm-hmm. So tell me about the best game wrecker you've coached.
Game wrecker. Well, I know I kind of thought about this beforehand, and there's two guys that come to mind that I played with, not so many that I coached.
Okay.
There's two guys, one offense and one defense that I played with. So we had, when I played at Elmhurst College, we played from 2009 to 2012. And we had a really nice team. We finished 10-2. We had our best season in school history. So we went to the playoffs, blah, 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 blah. So there was two guys there. One, I'll start on offense. I'm a defensive guy, but one that I would not want to tackle, even in practice. Just like, do I have to? I don't know if I ever tackled him in practice, and we played with him for 4 years. His name was Scotty Williams. So Scotty is a number one, just an outstanding human being. Great guy, great, just man. So Scotty, he ended up winning the Glardy Trophy, which is basically the equivalent to the D3 Heisman.
Yep.
That year. I couldn't tell you how many yards he ran for. He still might be running, honestly. I don't know. So the yards may still be racking up. But, I mean, he would have 200 yards a game. It wouldn't matter. I would hate to defend against him. It wouldn't matter. They'd stack 10, 12, 12 guys in the box. He wasn't going to stop them. So, and we had a very nice offensive line too. So Scotty was just a guy that he couldn't be stopped. But he was like, I don't know, maybe not. He wasn't 5'7". There's no way. 5'7", we'll call it, 200, and but just would run everybody over, run past he was amazing, man. And then another guy that I played with, his name was Randy Wright. So I was getting recruited to come to Elmhurst, and it's just like everything. They put the highlight tape on from the year before, and I'm a senior in high school, 18, 17-year-old, and this whole highlight's just this linebacker just running over people, through people, on top of people, just throwing dudes around. I was like, what the hell is this guy? I can't play here. Like, if I got to play, there's no way in hell. Like, I'm going to have to sit a couple years. But, I mean, he was just you would think every play was a blitz, but it wasn't. I mean, he was light. I don't know how many tackles for loss. I think he had he had definitely the school record for tackles for loss, 20-something tackles for loss in a year or something. I mean, he was just lights out. So we became really good friends, and we played 2 years together. He was an All-American at Elmhurst College and kind of really got the ball rolling for us and stuff like that. So, I mean, you want to talk about forget it. I mean, he's a middle linebacker. I don't know how veer. He's going to get over the top of every veer. He's just one of those unblockable guys. Yep. So I don't know. Have you ever had a linebacker like that? That's just like
I had
block him.
Now he was a little guy, like first your first guy there. Kid was like 5'7", and he would just slip blocks. He set the school single season tackle record at 163. And people are like, oh, that's those stats made up. I'm like, you can have every film we have. I will tell you. And then, one of them was a great friend of mine, coached at one of the rival schools. And after the first week, we played a triple option team. Kid had like 22 tackles. He called me. He said, there's no way he had 22 tackles. I said, Roy, you're going to get this film one way or another. I said, I'm sending it to you. And he said, he called me after he got, because he played the team. We played week 1. He played them week 3. And he called me. He goes, my bad. I said, I told you. I said, the kid, 22 tackles. They're triple option. They're not throwing the ball. But that kid just had a way of not getting blocked. I don't know how he did it. But, look, it wasn't because of my coaching. I can tell you that. I didn't coach him to be able to do that stuff. That was just something he knew how to slip blocks and slither past linemen. It was unbelievable.
Yeah, that's crazy.
All right, Coach, biggest slobberknocker hit you've seen?
This one hurts to say because it was actually on one of our teammates, but I mean it resounds with me. But I'm sorry, I will leave his name unmentioned. He's a good friend of mine, but so we actually on offense we ran an RPO, so we ran a tight end pop pass. Right. Okay, and this kid, I mean we're freshmen, all right, and he's playing in college, all right, so. We're freshmen. All right. Ooh, I almost said his name. Then a man that was unnamed. All right. All right. So he catches it. So he's open. He's open now. Okay. So he catches it. Well, there was a safety that was coming down that he was not aware of. So the quarterback left it up there. So he had to go up and get it. So he left his feet to get it. All right. And he's open now. So he catches it and he's not on the ground yet. So as he comes to turn back around, the safety, and this is before targeting. I can't believe that kid from Clemson got tossed out. Yes, that just makes me sick. So, but he got hit so hard, dude. Like, I mean, just a complete snap head off the ground. I mean, all the stuff that now would get you killed and sentenced to jail time. He got all of that. All right. That was in like 2009 when this was all still football and you could still hit people. So no, there was no targeting back then. The target was on his head and he got you want to talk about helmet to helmet, and he got put in the turf, man. So yeah, he had to he wasn't the same after that. So I don't even know the team we played, man. I could still hear the sound. Could hear the sound still. Yeah, it was crazy. So
all right, Coach. Well, hey, the final segment of the show is called Bring in the House. I'd like to ask 5 rapid-fire questions. No, you got to pick something, right?
I'll be rapid.
Right? All right, here we go. Ready? Which has been a bigger change in the NFL game? Free agency or the salary cap?
Free agency. You want me to answer why? Or?
No. Yeah, go ahead. If you want.
Free agency, because there's no loyalty to these teams anymore. You could just pick up and go, and you got contract years. People play for contracts and all this. It's just, I don't like it, man. You don't have even like people don't have teams anymore. I don't have a team I root for. I just root for who's doing well right now. I'm
on your fantasy team, right?
Yeah, or that too. Yeah. So
whoever's on my fantasy team is who my favorite player is.
Yeah, it bugs me. It bugs me that these guys don't have too much loyalty. But I mean, I get it on their end too. They're looking for the salary cap and the payday. Right. So,
all right.
Yeah.
Zone or man coverage?
I'm a zone guy. I get weak knees with man sometimes, man. I get weak knees. With man. I like this version of half man and half zone that I play, though. I feel comfortable. I could sleep at night.
Okay,
so
that's good.
Yeah.
All right, you get to watch one final football game. Who do you want to be the announcer for the game?
What's his name? The guy that always did the Rose Bowl.
Keith Jackson.
Keith. Give me Keith.
Jackson?
Nelly. We're going to have a barn burner here today, boys. I got to have Keith.
Right. No, that, absolutely.
Without a doubt.
All right. Who's your favorite superhero?
You know what? I'm a cop-out, but I like Superman just because he can do everything. You know? He's always going to win. He's always going to – he can't lose. I mean, so he's going to – yeah. So I'm a big Superman guy.
Okay. That's nothing wrong with that. Now, I always try to sneak one of these in. Being a big guy, love to eat. Mm-hmm. Who's got the best deep dish in Chicago?
Yeah, I'm a Giordano's guy myself.
Okay.
I had some Lou Malnati's when I went back home, only because my mom wanted it. Sorry, Lou's. Lou's is good. I mean, don't get me wrong. I don't want to get crossed up. I don't want anybody, sending me notices here.
Right.
But I'm a Giordano's guy. So
when my oldest son was doing the camp tours, he was at we went to the one there at Northwestern, and we went downtown and ate Giordano's. So it's legit.
Giordano, I think it goes to me like that. I like Giordano's, and you got Geno's, and then you got Lou's, throw Lou's in there, and then the top three, So I'm just not. People love it, man. People will die over Lou Malnati's. I'm just not.
And
I'm not going to die on that hill.
The people I know from Chicago, they have their pizza, and they were like, they're going to fight if you say their pizza's not the pizza, right?
Oh no! Look, I've gotten in arguments before. I've almost gotten in fist fights before. It's just not worth it,
Right?
So,
Coach,
it's appreciate it.
Hey, this has been a blast. I appreciate you coming on here, taking time, giving us some information about defending RPOs and option. I hope you get another good season in next year, and you keep doing great things.
Yeah, man. Thank you. I appreciate it. It was a pleasure to be on here. I had a great time, blast, and hopefully, if you ever need or want anything else, I'd love to come back on. So
awesome. We'll keep you on the speed dial, because I'm sure there's other things you've got in your back pocket that my listeners could gain knowledge from.
Sure. All right. Thank you, sir.
Hey, folks, appreciate you turning in to another episode of Gamewreckers and Slobberknockers. We'll see you next time.